So nice to see all of you. I'm Bridget Anderson, the President and CEO of the Greater Vancouver Board of Trade, and I would like to begin by acknowledging that we're gathered on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh. We are honored to live, work, and play on these lands. For a record 15th time, YVR has been voted North America's best airport. This is a remarkable achievement and comes after another record for the airport, 2025 marking the highest cargo and passenger volumes in its history. That growth reflects not only the strength of the travel and trade sectors, but also the strategic importance of YVR as a hub that keeps our region and our country connected to the global economy. As Canada's Pacific gateway to Asia and beyond, YVR connects our province to the world. Every day it moves people, cargo, and ideas across borders, helping Canadian businesses reach global markets, strengthening supply chains, and supporting jobs and opportunity here at home. I don't know if you had an opportunity to come through the welcome gate there. The YVR team put together a fantastic experience. I was looking to see what flight I was going on, but just headed to the front to a table. But also on your tables, there are a number of local products that you can get at YVR, so please enjoy. Now looking ahead, YVR is on an ambitious course, expanding connections, strengthening infrastructure, and continuing to serve as a powerful driver of economic activity for British Columbia and Canada. We are very pleased to welcome someone who has been instrumental in shaping that vision, Tamara Vrooman. As President and CEO of Vancouver International Airport, Tamara has led the organization through a period of transformation and growth, while reinforcing YVR's role as a world-class airport and a key economic driver for our region. After her keynote address, I will sit down with Tamara, and of course, we want you to be part of that conversation. You can log on to slido.com, where you can submit questions or vote for questions. And as you can see on the screen, the code is very apt, YVR 2026. On behalf of the Board of Trade, I would like to thank our generous partners for making today's event possible. Thank you to our presenting sponsors, Stantec and CIBC, our reception sponsor, Air Canada, our lunch sponsor, PCL Construction, and our supporting sponsors, KZN Architecture, Interior Design and Planning, and Invest Vancouver, a service of Metro Vancouver. Our event partner, One Group Agency, and our accessibility partner, Accessible Employers, and the closed captioning is being done today by Catherine Siegler from Accurate Real Time, and we also have ASL interpreters with us, Jenny Lang and Vicky Yee. I would also like to take a moment and thank our pillar partners. They include TELUS, CN, YVR, BCIT, Air Canada, and RBC, and a sincere thank you to these 6 organizations who enable the work of the Board of Trade. I would like to take a moment and welcome some special guests in the room. The Honourable Ann Kang, Minister of Tourism, Arts, Culture and Sport. She has a very big job coming up with FIFA around the corner. We also have a number of board members from the Greater Vancouver Board of Trade. I hope I get all of you here in the room. Roger Dall'Antonia, Walter Pela, Anna Stukas, Tamara Vrooman, Peter Jada, Catherine Young, and Jeff Zabudsky. I now have the pleasure of inviting Councillor Michelle Point from the Musqueam Indian Band to deliver a special welcome. Please welcome Councillor Point.
Thank you, Bridget. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michelle Point. I am an elected councillor in Musqueam. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all here today. It's very exciting. But I wasn't planned for this and I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. It's an honor to welcome everyone here today on behalf of Council and our community. Chief Wayne Sparrow was unable to attend today, but he sends his regrets and well wishes to Tamara for this annual YVR update. Sorry. YVR is located on Musqueam territory. Since 2017, we have been implementing our Sustainable and Friendship Agreement, one of the first partnership agreements we signed that recognized and affirmed our inherent rights within our territory. This agreement is rooted in mutual respect and understanding that honoring Musqueam's history to the land is key to achieving success for everyone. We are grateful for YVR and Tamara's commitment to our relationship, working towards a shared long-term vision of joint prosperity. Thank you to YVR and the Greater Vancouver Board of Trade for ensuring our proper protocol is followed here today. Once again, welcome to Musqueam. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much, Councillor Point. Really appreciate you coming in and being with us today. I now have the pleasure of inviting Carl Abdallah, Senior Principal Transportation Regional Growth Leader of Canada at Stantec, to deliver a few remarks and to introduce our keynote speaker. Please welcome Carl.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here and welcome to this great event. It's truly an honor to introduce our speaker today. And as Vancouverites, there's a lot to be proud of our airport that we call home here. It's more than a transportation hub. It's an innovation industry and a pillar for career development, for growth, and for transportation across Canada, and a gateway to Asia Pacific. Over the past year, the airport's delivered and advanced several major infrastructure initiatives to support the long-term operational reliability, and most notably, YVR just finished last year its major program of rehabilitation for the North Runway, which is a fantastic achievement, a one-of-a-kind project. YVR is also advancing more projects in terms of sustainability and reliability, in terms of energy consumptions, and becoming a pillar of innovations in that sense as well. Now, we've already heard that YVR has been named the best airport in North America by Skytrax, just by my introduction here. But I think it's worth mentioning again that it's an unprecedented 15th time in a row, and we're also in the top 10 airports in the world. All right, it's in the context of infrastructure delivery and operational excellence that we have this presentation today by the CEO of Vancouver Airport, Tamara Vrooman, a truly inspirational person and a catalyst of innovation and sustainability. Now, last time that we had a presentation from Tamara, she demonstrated her teleportation skills. So we're anxious to see what Tamara's got in the store for us, but for now, she'll be up on stage in just a moment. I'll ask you to turn to the nearest screen towards you and get prepared to take off for YVR's Greater Vancouver Board of Trade Global Annual Address.
Night or day, 7 days a week, YVR keeps our passengers, our region, and our economy moving. A global hub and Canada's Pacific gateway to Asia and beyond. A role the airport has proudly played for nearly 95 years. But in 2025, we did more than just move people and products. We strengthened the foundation beneath every takeoff and every landing through key projects like the modernization of our North Runway. We electrified ground fleets and supported our airline partners in adopting sustainable aviation fuel. Key steps on our roadmap to net zero by 2030. We improved passenger flow with investments in innovative new technologies, many first-of-their-kind equipment in Canada, and worked together in smarter, more efficient, and more coordinated ways than ever before. We expanded our global reach by welcoming more airlines, and adding more destinations. We moved more high-value Canadian goods to export markets around the world than ever before. From fresh foods to high-value technologies to critical minerals. Supporting Canadian companies that are seeking new markets and new opportunities for our products. And we served more passengers than at any point in our history, quickly adapting to shifting travel patterns amidst global uncertainty. We strengthened connections to the communities we serve, not just with resources, but with our own two hands. With our partners, we created more moments for passengers to enjoy their journey and to learn more about Musqueam, on whose ancestral unceded territory YVR operates. YVR isn't just a gateway, it's an employer, an economic engine, an environmental steward, and a connector of families, cultures, and opportunity. When we strengthen YVR, we strengthen the region. Coming off a year of new records, new routes, new achievements, and incredible new heights, YVR is ready now to seize the momentum and the opportunity to help our region and our economy take off into the future.
This is air traffic control. Request for takeoff received. Runway 26 right is yours. YVR 2026 Greater Vancouver Board of Trade, you're cleared for takeoff.
Good afternoon, everyone. I must admit, I love that video. Did you not love that video? Yeah, it was fantastic. Fantastic. Welcome, everyone. I really appreciate seeing so many partners out here this afternoon, a sunny afternoon, to hear what's new at YVR. We've really tried to create and bring the airport experience into the room. You saw the e-gates. You've got some of our great food and beverage offering on the table. And I think I was talking to David from Air Canada. We have attendance that is a little over 2 very large wide-body aircraft in the room today with slightly more legroom, huh? Yeah. So sit back. We're going to talk a little bit about what's new at YVR. But before I do, I also want to have a few moments to say a few thank yous. Thank you very much to Councillor Michelle Point for coming in at the very last minute to get us welcomed and started in such a good way. Thank you, Councillor Point. Also, thank you to Stantec, to Carl, and to Bridget, your fantastic partners that allow us to do what we do. And I wouldn't be a good CEO if I didn't thank my board of directors, who are also in the room. Wave your hands, board. There they are. There they are. Thank you so much for your support and all you do to support me and the executive and the entire team at YVR. And then finally, none of this happens without a tremendous team effort. And one of the things I'm particularly proud of this presentation time is that all of what you see around you, on the table, the screens, behind me, the fantastic footage, was all done by our YVR in-house team. Tremendously talented people bringing all of this together. Please join me in thanking them for being so thoughtful in how they support us today. And we've got a great group of volunteers here in the room and a team back at YVR that are watching, and of course the people who are keeping the airport running while we're here. Thank you for all you do. Everything we talk about here today and I talk about is thanks to your hard work. I think the video captured it well. You know, we had a fantastic year in 2025. You heard we had record passenger growth, and by record I mean record in the last 100 years record, as well as record cargo volumes. And we're on track to achieve similar growth this year. We strengthened our role as Canada's gateway to Asia, while also diversifying our routes. That's very, very important in a time like this, because while we have a very fantastic role to play as BC's airport, we increasingly see our opportunity to really connect to markets around the world. And we performed at a scale that's bigger than our local population. And why that matters in the airport business is because by having 30% of our traffic connecting passengers that connect through YVR without getting out of the airport, but are on their way from international to other international or other destinations, they really support routes that allow all British Columbians to access the network at a rate and scale that wouldn't be possible without it. And as you saw in the video, we have been really making investments not only in our passenger experience, but also in our core infrastructure. I just want to take a moment to talk to you a little bit about the North Runway program. We have several people in the audience who really helped us with that project, from Kiewit, from TriStar to AmRise, really bringing that alive. And what you see here was 200 people going out each and every night to scrape, resurface, 150 meters at a time, 3,000 meters in total, repaint the lines, make sure the lights were all there, inspected and reopened by 6 o'clock in the morning each and every night. They didn't disrupt one flight, either cargo or passenger, in order to keep that vital piece of infrastructure alive. I've heard from airports around the world that are wanting to know how we did it and hoping to have this introduced at their airport. We also have advanced our sustainability in very meaningful ways. You know, we're very, very conscious of the fact that we operate on a land base. We're a land-based business. And Sea Island is, of course, in one of the most important river deltas in the province. So our commitment to cut our own emissions, accelerate sustainable aviation fuel adoption is very, very important to what we do. Last year, we sold $11.7 million in SAF credits to the airlines that use YVR, both a testament to the opportunity for sustainable aviation fuel, but also the fact that airlines are also keen to access this important fuel source. And we're working with the province of British Columbia to ensure that we can broaden access to sustainable aviation fuel. As you saw when you came in, we've also introduced a number of digitized innovations that really have improved the way that we can serve the passengers safely and securely. Whether it's CT scanners, whether it's the e-gates that you used on the way in, the whole idea is to get you where you're going faster and easier. Also, fun fact, the #1 place where people lose their passports is at an airport. So we're hoping that you don't have to take things out of your pocket so much. We can reduce that key stat that's so frustrating for many. We also have been really focusing on not only how we take care of the land, but who we take care of it for. And as you heard at the opening, the partnership that we've had since 2017 with Musqueam, our sustainability and friendship agreement, has been key to our ability to operate confidently and inclusively at YVR. We also have really focused on our finances. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Obviously, a good year of growth contributes to the bottom line, but we've been very, very careful stewards of the resources that we have, including financially. And so last month, I'm pleased to say that YVR received yet another credit rating upgrade, the highest that we've ever had in our history, to AA. There's only about 10 or 12 airports in the world that enjoy that level of access to the credit market at such a low price. In fact, our colleagues at RBC were joking with us the other day, we can now borrow money more cheaply than they can. So we're pretty happy about that. So if you need a loan, RBC, you know where to go. We did this all by continuing to focus on our people. You know, we say at YVR that working at an airport is a team sport. Not one of us can do anything that we do without the work and the cooperation and the support of many, many other people. It is truly an ecosystem. And so we've continued to invest in our people in a time when other industries have been laying off, we have been hiring. In fact, we just put out our call for co-op students, right? It's the time of year when we're all looking forward to welcoming young people into our organizations for the summer term. And we were stunned that we received over 6,000 applications for co-op students. And when we checked into it to find out why, was AI at work? No, these were real people. It was because they see their future. They see their future in our industry, and they want to be part of it. A better endorsement, I honestly can't think of. And as a result of all of that, as you heard, and I'm going to make you clap a third time, we were awarded for a record 15th time the best airport in North America by one of the largest consumer surveys that exists in any industry. 13 million people are surveyed in order to come to that conclusion. And for the first time in a very, very long time, we also cracked the top 10 in the world, which we're very, very proud of. And we also know that our colleagues at Air Canada voted the best airline in North America. Please join me in congratulating all the people that made those SkyTech wins possible. But you know, we know that for all the success that we've had recently at YVR and the work that we're doing to ensure it continues, there's obviously very, very challenging times ahead, both for our region, for our industry, and of course, the world. And it is affecting our business. We are seeing the effects of the change. We continue to see there is a shift. Fewer Canadians, traveling to the US. Interestingly, travel by Americans from the US to Canada has stayed relatively buoyant. So they continue to come. We saw that in the spring break period just a few weeks ago. But we're also seeing significant growth domestically and particularly internationally. Asia Pacific up 15%, as well as other international routes up about 10% year over year. And that gives us opportunity for new routes. Airlines are coming to us with new destinations and also expanding the frequency of existing destinations. Just to name a few, Mexico City, Costa Rica, first inaugural service to Sapporo, daily to Beijing. Bangkok is now year-round, expanded service to Seoul, more service to Hong Kong, more service to Tokyo, and the list goes on. All of that service not only provides more access for you, your businesses, your friends, your families to make those vital human connections, it also supports a growing cargo business. In fact, every flight that we introduce, one flight weekly over the course of a year, that amounts to about $54 million and up to $500 million in additional cargo shipped. So these flights are very, very valuable, not just to YVR, but to our region and to our economy. We are also seeing that the situation in the Gulf, of course, is something that we're monitoring very, very carefully. We've all heard about the fuel impacts, what that effect is having on rerouting aircraft, and. We don't have direct service to that part of the world, so we're not being affected that way. But of course, we are seeing some effects in terms of the cost of fuel and some changes in travel patterns going forward. But by and large, what we always say is travel is like, and trade, they're like water. They get blocked one way, they find another way. And that's what we're seeing in the Gulf. In fact, our colleagues, some of our cargo shippers, handlers have said that since the Gulf conflict, they've seen traffic through YVR, for cargo in particular, virtually double over the course of 7 to 10 days. Why is that? A lot of Asia cargo used to go through the Persian Gulf. into the region and connect into Europe now is finding a safer and more secure passage from Southeast Asia through YVR, connecting not only to other points in North America, but as a bridge to Europe. In the years ahead, we see the same opportunity to continue to strengthen trade as we've seen in strengthening our passenger volumes. By being a connecting hub, we can be a connecting hub for cargo as well as passengers. And the synergies we get by doing those two things together allow us to grow it efficiently and at scale. We have a strategic geographic advantage, but we also have a strategic business model advantage, which we feel is very, very important, not only for us, but for the region. We recently took some time to say, okay, so if we have an opportunity to continue to grow, who benefits and where do we see the impacts of what we do? And we recently completed a study with a local firm, MMP, to take a look at the economic impacts of YVR on the region. And here's the stats. They're actually quite interesting. They've changed. We did it 2 years ago, and there's quite a significant change over the last 2 years. 28,000 people come to work each and every day at YVR. That's an amazing number, and it's up by 8%, as you can see from the last time we did the study 2 years ago. Across British Columbia, that amounts to about 115,000 jobs created province-wide, and just shy of 130,000 nationwide. When we take a look at the GDP, that's $13.5 billion that YVR alone contributes to our provincial economy, up $1 billion years, or $1 billion. Billion years would be a long time. $1 billion from the last time we did the survey. So we're quite an important economic generator, and we take that information very, very seriously at YVR, because we know if we grow efficiently, if we connect to the places that businesses and the community needs us to connect to, not only do we fulfill our service mandate of growing YVR and in service of the community and the economy that supports it, we also are contributing an outsized amount to the overall prosperity and growth of our region. The other thing that we've been focusing on and that you've heard a lot about is, well, the idea that expanding trade is not exactly new. We've been talking about it as a country now for the last 12 months. And we have some bold targets to double exports through investments over the next decade issued by the Government of Canada. But we see an opportunity that is different from many of the parts of the economy that will need to have investments in order to make that happen. Unlike many of our airports colleagues, frankly, across the country and elsewhere around the world, YVR doesn't need to make billions and billions of dollars in investments in new terminals, in new runways, in order to grow. Thanks to the investments that we've been making a bit at a time, smart investments in technology and resilience to make us more efficient, partnership with airlines and others, we have created a platform that allows us to be ready now. We are ready, as I told the Prime Minister when he was through YVR in January, to take on all of that new business and all of that new traffic the minute that it comes to YVR. And so we're very, very excited about the fact that we think we have an opportunity not only to continue to grow in service of YVR and what we do, but in service of the economy, and we have the opportunity to do it a little sooner, maybe be the catalyst, the leading part of the economic ecosystem that will allow us as a province to thrive and prosper. We're continuing to invest for all of our colleagues in the construction and engineering services in the room. We continue to invest about $300 million a year, so don't worry about that, in our ongoing infrastructure to make sure that we continue to be ready for the changes and the shifting patterns and some of the uncertainty that we see ahead. And so recently I had an opportunity to travel to Hong Kong and Singapore just to start to understand where exactly we might be able to see this incremental growth. At the same time, our team has been out around the world, in South America, in many, many countries in Southeast Asia, in the Gulf region before the conflict, looking to ensure that we have the connectivity and the relationships, so we're there when you need us to be in order to expand our service and our routes. And it was interesting what I heard. As I said when I came back to our colleagues, countries other than the major ones that you would know definitely have got the middle country memo. So countries like Singapore, Vietnam, Indonesia, India, Japan, Korea, they are all looking also to diversify their trade. They're feeling the squeeze, in that case, often between China and the United States. And they really see an opportunity to partner with Canada. In fact, I would say we're near the top of their list in almost every instance. However, what they also made clear was that they can't wait. And one of the things that they've experienced in the past, dealing with Canadian businesses, and in particular parts of the ecosystem that facilitate trade, is we can be a little slower than the market needs. We make high-quality decisions, but it takes a really, really long time. And in other situations and contexts, I think they communicated that that would be okay. But in this unique one, it is not. And so while their first preference is to grow and partner with us, they can't wait. And so we need to be ready and able to receive the investments to facilitate the trade, to facilitate the partnership and the movement of people and goods. That really is a once-in-a-generational opportunity for us to continue, of course, to strengthen our ties and trade to the United States, but also diversify for resilience and security at the same time. Here's an example of that. So Vietnam, a country I hear a lot about when I'm talking to businesses, huge opportunity, not only for tourism, but even greater opportunity than many people realize for trade. We currently see quite a large volume of goods coming from the west coast of Canada, Canadian goods finding their way to Vietnam, and vice versa, in things that would surprise you. Machine parts, plastics, technology, all, relatively speaking, high-value goods that travel by air. The problem is we don't have any direct service to Vietnam. Last year alone, 58,000 passengers traveled from YVR to Vietnam, but they had to go via Singapore. 58,000 is enough to support a direct route and all of the cargo benefits that would come with that. And so those are the kinds of opportunities that we're working on to be able to deliver on now so that we can serve the local businesses and the Western Canadian businesses that tell us that they really need to have that direct service to be competitive given all of the capital flows that are shifting given the trade dynamics. And what we know, what I also saw traveling to Hong Kong and Singapore, why those two sites were important for our business in particular, is those are two of the largest cargo hubs in the world. Hong Kong being the largest, 5 million tons of cargo going through Hong Kong each and every year, and Singapore being a close second at about 2 million tons a year. We're super excited. It's a record, just to put it in perspective for you, at 365,000 tons a year. So these are massive cargo hubs. But what we see is that if you can deliver speed, consistency, and scale, people will come. And you'll attract all of the integrators. The freight forwarders will want to be there. Shipping efficiencies will be there. Competition emerges that lowers costs and improves access not only for the biggest shippers, but right through the economic ecosystem to small and medium-sized business. That's the vision that we have for YVR. Taking the strength that we have on the passenger side, for which we are recognized and increasingly world-renowned, and extending it to the cargo business because we think this is the opportunity, more than at any other time potentially in our history, to really ensure that our role as a trade hub and a cargo hub is equally compelling and equally important to the work we do, given what's at stake for our region. That's why we're setting a bold goal. We're going to double the cargo volume that goes through YVR in the next 5 years. And in so doing, we will continue to contribute jobs, billions of dollars in prosperity and economic growth, and create a global hub in cargo that is equal to the global hub reputation that we have for passengers. And it's important because we think that it's difficult for businesses to grow in our region without access to an efficient, digitized, smart, reliable cargo airport in exactly the same way you've come to rely on us as a passenger airport. And so in closing, I just want to say that you know, there's a lot of negative news that surrounds us. And there's a lot of challenges, candidly, that we have as a province and as a region, particularly when it comes to economic growth in the future. I was so personally heartened to see, you know, on the one hand, maybe says there's not that many co-op jobs elsewhere, but of course, on the other hand, that people see, young people see a future in what we're doing, and they want to be part of it. You know, I was born in British Columbia, went to school here, worked only in British Columbia my whole career, and raised my family here. And I believe in the region, but we have work to do. And that's why I'm so excited that we have this crown jewel in our midst that I'm lucky enough to be the caretaker of for a few years. But many, many people before me helped create the excellent airport that is YVR to really punch above our weight and to contribute today and tomorrow, not 5 or 10 years from now, to the significant economic challenges and create opportunities out of them in a way that British Columbia has many, many times in the past, but is needed more than ever now. And so I look forward to taking your questions on how we're going to do exactly that. Thank you so much for spending some very sunny hours here in this room, learning a little bit about what we're doing at YVR, taking a look at our beautiful airport and don't I have the best office? It's a fantastic organization with fantastic people, and we're at a point in time where we can play a fantastic role in our future. Thank you so much.
You're right, that is a great view.
It is.
As we settle in, we're just waiting for some chairs to come up. I'll remind you that you can log on to slido.com, and the code is YVR 2026, and you can vote for questions. You could submit your own questions. I have a few of my own, but yeah, I'm a little bit jealous about that view, although mine's pretty good
Yeah,
too.
yours is pretty good.
Yeah, mine's pretty good too. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
Thanks, team.
Thank you.
So maybe a good starting point is to once again talk about the record year.
Yeah.
So we don't have enough to celebrate these days, it feels like. So a record year for passengers, for cargo, 15th time voted best airport in North America and cracked that top 10 globally. Mm-hmm. Can you point to any specific factors that allowed for so much success?
I think we've really focused on the passenger experience, operational efficiency, and resilience. And so those things tend to be not necessarily the sexy part of our business, don't get to cut a ribbon, there's not beautiful architecture to celebrate when you focus on those things, but they are the little things that add up to big successes. And so I think focusing on efficiency, on getting people where they need to go, on serving people with diverse needs in different languages to make sure that they can confidently go where they need to go, working with partners to share data so that airlines move more efficiently, we can support them more efficiently. All those things add up to customer service that people tell us in a passenger experience is better than our competitors and anywhere else. And so I think sometimes, you know, when we're looking at big challenges, we think about big solutions. And sometimes those big solutions are needed. A brand new X or a major project Y. But often, and we know this in business, often it's the little things done well that add up to a real difference. And I'll say it, I said it before and I'll say it again. The fact that we have those 28,000 people that are focused on one thing and one thing alone. We call it the one YVR. Everybody focused on safely and efficiently getting people and goods where they need to go when they're supposed to be there. And those folks just make those incremental changes each and every day that allows us to be a global leader.
That experience really is bar none, I will say that. I want to focus on a few of the challenges that YVR and other airports are facing right now. I read this morning that some airports in Europe are concerned that they could run out of fuel in 3 weeks or have fuel shortages. You know, how is YVR grappling with this? You did mention in your remarks that maybe you're a little bit more buffered from some of that, but what is the situation for YVR?
Yeah, we of course are monitoring it with our airline carriers and fuel suppliers, and yes, we are less affected than other parts of the world just because of where we get our fuel and how it's transported to us. But if this continues to go on a long, long time, you know, we'll continue to have to look and be resilient as those changes come. So far, we haven't seen any changes to our schedule. We have seen some airlines starting to put some additional premiums on some aspects of some fares, but candidly, it's been much, much less than what has been seen in virtually every other part of the world outside of Canada.
You mentioned SAF, so the Sustainable Aviation Fuel. My brain was getting there. And you know, that maybe is that one of the reasons that we do have access to that, but how do we then broaden access to something like that? I know it's a complex question because there's a lot of factors involved.
Yeah, I think a Sustainable Aviation Fuel has a lot of potential because it allows emission reduction and a cleaner fuel supply chain, if you will, than conventional fuel without having to change the technology of airplanes and aircraft or the technology or the service infrastructure of airports. So it's highly efficient, just like ethanol blend was for gasoline combustion engines and automobiles was decades ago. It gets blended and it reduces the emissions, but you can put it in today's aircraft without redesigning them. So it has a ton of benefit. The challenge is it's very, very expensive at the moment, and feedstock is in short supply. So feedstock, things like canola, used often for other purposes. Wood waste, something where we think British Columbia would have a great advantage and where we could support our forestry sector, technology isn't quite there. Synthetic aviation fuel, fantastic, but it takes a ton of energy to generate, which sort of negates the benefit. So there is an opportunity in sustainable aviation fuel, there's no doubt, but what we have seen is that it does require usually governments to step in and ensure that there's a discount in price that allows the certainty of the buildup of the infrastructure and the supply chain to grow, such that the fuel providers have confidence that somebody will buy it if they invest and produce it, and that there's some certainty of price for the users and the carriers at the other end. So far, we haven't seen that in Canada. California has done that. Texas, believe it or not, is a high user of sustainable aviation fuel. So there are jurisdictions where this exists, but more and more we see in Asia, we see in Europe, that those jurisdictions are demanding blended SAF. And so if that end of the route is demanding SAF and this end of the route isn't, you can see why that doesn't really work for very long and isn't very efficient. So we're really committed to do our part. As we said, we're the leading player in the country on fuel and other credits to make sure that we can provide the platform and sort of the test case to figure out the economics of sustainable aviation fuel, because it has a lot of potential.
Speaking of potential, you have got some bold growth plans.
Yep.
Interesting, I was in Singapore maybe 2 years ago. Fascinating country, city, country. Also Hong Kong, fascinating. Are you seeing the growth that you are projecting mostly coming from the Asia Pacific, or are there other markets outside of that?
Well, you know, it's really interesting. We certainly see opportunity for continued growth in Southeast Asia in particular, both in its own right, as I said, using the case of Vietnam, but also as a connection point through to India and other parts of South Asia. But we also are seeing increased demand for service to South America. So recently, I think we all know that we are getting the head office of the new merged entity, Anglo-Teck, one of the largest mining companies in the world. When they were in town last, their executives came to meet with us to talk about how they can get service from Vancouver to their mining sites in South America. So as we continue to grow in sectors like mining, in some of the tech sectors and others, it's not just the tourism growth that needs to be supported by these new routes. It's often business connections and business growth. And as our colleagues at Anglo said, they're from London. They're used to getting on a plane from London and flying to whatever site they want in the world. And if we're wanting to attract and grow these kinds of global businesses in and around British Columbia and Vancouver, we need to have this level of connectivity that they expect in order to really facilitate globally scalable business.
With your cargo growth goals of doubling cargo in 5 years, are there other factors or support that's needed to help you attain that goal?
Yeah, we certainly, there's all sorts of fun operational things, like how much pavement we have and who gets to park which aircraft where. But largely speaking, we have the capacity today, looking beyond 5 years and building on what we hope will be a great test case for even greater growth. We do think there's opportunities, just like we've digitized our journey for passengers, that we've got a digital twin that's really helping us operate the airport with our partners more efficiently in the ways that I described. There's an opportunity equally present for cargo as well. Cargo and logistics is still, largely speaking, a paper-based industry. You know, we fill out the form in triplicate, right?
Fax machine.
Yeah, not quite fax machine, but it is a bit that way. We see other jurisdictions, like the ASEAN countries, are moving to full digitized waybill and freight records. That's something that we think that we can build, purpose-build at YVR, and again, use as a test case for the country. Hard for our companies to be able to access that supply chain if they can't do it digitally. So there's all sorts of infrastructure, modern infrastructure, that we think is going to be a really important part of growing this part of our business. We're well positioned to do it. We've got the experience on the passenger and the operation side that I think puts us in a really good place.
You mentioned infrastructure, and that's a question that's up there on Slido. Recently, you were in the media talking about the parkade.
Yep.
And that you were unsure whether it was going to be used, might even be tearing it down. Has a decision been made, and what is the thinking behind that?
Yeah. So if you come to the airport anytime in the last 5 years, you've seen a partially built parking structure. That was started and approved in 2017 when we were seeing quite a big demand in growth for single occupancy vehicles coming in parking at the airport. Since that time, we've seen the introduction of Lyft and Uber, a fundamental change to the taxi industry that's come as a result of ride hailing, and a total rebalancing of the way that employees and passengers come and depart our airport. And so we've done the studies. We were getting ready to complete it. We halted it during COVID. Seems like ages ago now, but remember, you couldn't actually stand side by side and work outside, even on something like a parkade. So it was very, very difficult to continue to do it at that time. We assumed that there would be a time when we would continue to complete it, but our analysis shows that it's not required, and that there's better things for us to spend about another $200 million to complete it. So while nobody likes to build something and then not have it used for its original purpose, we do think the responsible thing to do, and it was acknowledged by the rating agencies, which gave us the rating after that decision was made, to have that land used for something else.
What could some of those purposes be?
Yeah, what we see in other world-class airports, a better integrated ground transportation. You know, at the moment, it's not exactly intuitive where you should go. Things that make our terminal work really, really well from a passenger point of view, the fact that it basically goes like this, right, with a bunch of fingers out from a central area, makes it very, very difficult from a curb access point of view. It's literally at the narrowest hairpin part. So there's an opportunity to have really an integrated transit, ride-hail, pick-up, drop-off services there. There's other opportunities for moving the terminal out. That's very high-valued real estate. Next to, at an airport, what we call the beachfront, the waterfront, which is the land that's directly adjacent to the runways, this part of our airport is the second highest value. So we're also looking at options where we might expand the terminal towards that inner area, redo the curb as I just talked about, which would allow a lot more room post-security for food, for beverage, for services, but also for those vital infrastructure services that allow the movement of goods that facilitate that cargo growth.
Would some of the purposes that you're thinking about for this parkade address the bottleneck in accessing Sea Island? Or does it change traffic flow, or does it really address the mitigation?
Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, so we are on an island, and so of course you only get to the island via bridges, and those bridges are by definition almost narrow, skinny things that don't allow wide renovation or distribution of traffic. Most of the traffic problems that we have at YVR are actually as a result not of the airport, but of the fact that we're adjacent to the city of Richmond. And if you've ever come to YVR in the morning, you can see all of that traffic that lines up on Russ Baker Way, across from the Gilbert Bridge, all the way across to the Arthur Lang Bridge. It is really commuter traffic from Richmond to the city of Vancouver, which comes across to our bridges, because they're better than, you know, the sort of the smaller roads that you have on the Lulu Island and the Richmond side. So we're in active discussions with the city of Richmond around how their planning and our planning can work better together. We also have a great relationship with TransLink. We love the Canada Line. We made investments to make the Canada Line come to YVR. We are always looking for opportunities. If it were possible from an engineering point of view, I'd love to twin the Canada Line. It's a fantastic, service. So we also look at opportunities to integrate with high-frequency bus and other services travel that way to the airport.
Unless it's Boxing Day, and then that is all due to the outlet.
Yeah, designer outlet.
And that's
center.
entirely different.
That's a Designer Outlet Center. I think we've got that. I think we're better at that now than we were in the past. We have a fantastic that Designer Outlet Center mall. Thanks to COVID, when it was an outdoor shopping facility, when everybody else was indoors, really has done well. It's one of the highest performing shopping centers in the country.
There's an interesting question here about high-speed rail and the Cascadia, that project, and I'm involved because I'm part of the Cascadia Innovation Corridor, and I see some other folks in the room I know who are working on that project as well, which is very much a long-term project. It is more of a priority, I would say, for Washington and even Oregon than it is for British Columbia. But say things do actually move along and we are seeing some support from governments and funding on both sides of the border, would you see that there would be a business case to directly link this to YVR?
Absolutely. When I've met with the folks, both on the Washington state side, leadership at Microsoft who've been actively involved in that project, and also the province of BC, I've advocated that the best terminus for that is YVR. Because we already have the connection to the city, and it would facilitate, and we have corridor access, as I said. If we could twin the Canada line, we would, but coming in from the south. So again, if you travel, many of you have, to leading airports around the world, airports that are in the top 5, say, each and every one of them has a high-speed rail link from the city center to the airport.
It just seems like it's a project that will take some time to come to fruition.
It will. And so when we plan, we think about those things, so we make sure that we leave room for 50 years from now, the high-speed rail line that'll come to YVR.
There's a question here. You were talking about South America as an emerging market. I laugh a little bit at this question that nobody wants to fly via Montreal or Toronto. I don't think that's quite true. I think there are some of us that like that experience, but the question I'm going to ask you is about direct flights to South America. I mean, do you see more of those coming in, even in the next 12, 18 months?
Yeah, we have we have today and have had a significant demand for direct access into South America. What's increasingly interesting is it's not just on the passenger side, it's also increasingly now on the cargo side.
And maybe in part because of the tension between what's happening with the United States is looking at this diversification.
That's right. And so just like some passengers don't want to fly via Montreal or Toronto, apparently cargo doesn't either. And at the moment, it goes from Asia to Vancouver, to Toronto, and then to South America, much better and more efficient, obviously. If it could go directly. So the market that is probably the first that would come to us, although of course we're always looking for opportunities, would actually be Lima in Peru. Just because of the size of the infrastructure, the geography, remember how much it goes like this when you go to South America, and the ability to reach more markets through connecting through Lima. Lima is our top prospect in South America.
Question there about technology innovation and YVR, really, I mean, kudos to YVR for the work on the digital twin, the work on Nexus. There's a long, long history of innovation at YVR. Can you give us a peek into what is being worked on right now and what people can expect to see when it comes to that digital innovation?
Yeah, on the passenger side, certainly you saw it on the way in. We were the first ones in partnership with our colleagues at Air Canada to have full facial recognition e-gates. We've now expanded that to the US terminal and are working with a number of airlines, and we're looking to introduce the first one very, very soon with an airline partner in the international terminal. And so again, if you travel internationally, you know that you go from the high-speed rail connection through the front door, through check-in with your airline, to dropping off your bag if you have one, through security in the border, never taking a piece of paper, a QR code, or anything, let alone your passport, out of your pocket. It's all done by facial recognition, and so that is, that's a policy challenge because we don't have yet the authority to introduce that sort of across everything, but we are trying to demonstrate how people respond to it, what are their privacy concerns, how do we make it more efficient, and so you will see us continue to introduce that technology, including, I hope, at the border, as well as check-in and pre-screening.
And is it still the case that airports from around the world look to YVR for these innovations and then partner with you to adopt them and implement them in their own operations?
Yeah, we've got a really exciting partnership at the moment in partnership with Schiphol Airport. in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, where we're looking to create a total airport management system, which allows us to digitally integrate on a single platform data from all different sources, to be able to use AI in a predictive way to redirect resources in an efficient way, such that if an aircraft comes in late, let's say, because there's snow or something in Montreal, comes in late to Vancouver, we can, in a predictive way, organize the services better, stronger, faster to ensure that that aircraft maybe came in 90 minutes late, maybe only departs 10 minutes late in order to preserve that schedule. That is hugely valuable to an airport, but also to our airline customers. And it facilitates those just-in-time cargo connections that I've talked about that are so important also to supporting our passenger business. And of course, it improves the passenger experience in terms of the certainty. I think we've all experienced the difficult delays that just happen in our industry, whether it's due to weather, whether it's due to labor shortages for air traffic controllers, and. The modern airport and the airport of the future is the one that uses data and technology to be able to make improvements on those things that we can't control, to provide greater certainty, efficiency, and safety to get people on the way.
So apparently, in less than 2 months, the eyes of the world are going to be on Vancouver.
Yeah, 64 days from today, but who's counting?
I know, we're hosting 7 matches, which is very exciting. There is lots and lots of planning that has gone underway, and we are expecting thousands and thousands of people to come to our region.
Yep.
What has been the preparation like for YVR?
Yeah, we are definitely ready to be the first thing that people see and experience in our country and our region, and the last thing that leaves a good lasting impression. So we take that role very, very seriously. So we've been spending $7-8 million over the last number of months, making sure that all the lines are painted. There's no maintenance cones out anywhere, that we're all ready to host. We also have been doing a lot of training with our folks in terms of different ways of working, making sure that we can accommodate. And then there's also working with our partners who operate the service for private jets. We expect a lot of private aircraft to come into YVR. So it's a different mix than what you see in a busy.
How do you prepare for all of those private jets? I mean, that's a very good point, because some of those decisions, many of those decisions, are made fairly late in the process.
They are close to the time, yeah. So we actually, who knew? Taylor Swift was actually a good practice for FIFA. Had a similar effect, right? In terms of a whole pile of people coming in a short period of time. And what we saw on the private aircraft side is we will tell people that they can come and drop off and have a fantastic experience, but then you have to fly away again. So you just can't provide the parking like you would in normal times. And as long as private flights and operators know that, they can accommodate for that. It's not that unusual. So you'll see a lot more quick in, drop off your VIPs, and then the jets out. That causes a little bit more in terms of movement on the airfield, but we're planning for that.
Okay, final question then, because I know airports run on time and I want to keep us on time.
Good. That's good.
Looking beyond FIFA, then, it's still going to be a very busy summer. The cruise ship schedule is jam-packed as well. So if you were to be sitting here in September or October and doing this all over again, I won't make you do that in September and October, but how would you define success then from the FIFA games and also summer?
Yeah, well, we would certainly say that we would define success for those periods the way we always define success, which is we delivered a safe, efficient, on-time, world-class customer experience that not only we can be proud of, but the people who live here can be proud of, because we are literally hosting the world.
Thank you, Tamara. And number 16 next year.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to it.
That would be also defining success, I guess.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
We would do number 1 globally. We could define success.
We could do number 1 globally.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And to wrap up today's event, I'd like to call up Sam Jamal, the VP and Region Head for CIBC Commercial Banking. And he's going to give some closing remarks as the podium's being put there. So please, come on up, Sam.
As a leader, you give it your all every day to ensure the success of your business. At CIBC Commercial Banking, we are just as committed. Our industry knowledge and in-depth experience combine to provide you with comprehensive solutions that meet the diverse needs of your business. Some call it the CIBC Relationship Advantage. We call it business as usual.
Thank you and good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of CIBC, the Greater Vancouver Board of Trade, and all of the attendees here today, we would like to offer our special thanks to Tamara and the team at YVR for hosting this insightful update. As all of you know, the past few years have brought remarkable changes and challenges to the aviation industry and to YVR. We are so proud of the record year for YVR, 26.9 million travelers in 2025. Through a focus on people, financial and environmental sustainability, and a commitment to serving as an economic gateway, YVR has emerged as the thriving airport we see today. I think I can speak for all of us when I say how lucky we are to benefit from the many contributions YVR has made to the local economy and for being such a welcoming first stop for those arriving in our city, especially with FIFA World Cup just around the corner. We at CIBC are incredibly proud to support YVR in this journey and to play a part in its continued growth and success. Thank you again, Tamara, for your leadership and for sharing your insights with us today. We look forward to seeing YVR's continued success and positive impact for many years to come. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sam. And once again, thank you to all of our sponsors and partners for making today's event possible. And recognizing that it's Friday afternoon and it's sunny, I know probably all of you would like to go and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And as you do that, please collect some cookies as you're going out the door, which are from Dirty Apron, yet another local supplier that you can find at YVR. Tamara, really wonderful address and great conversation. Thanks again to the team at YVR for making today happen. Have a great afternoon.